Chali. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Satveer Singh, and I will be dealing with internal security and a few lectures of Indian polity. Fine. For internal security, we'll be having 7 lectures. Audible at the back? Beta, आवाज आ रही है पीछे? ठीक. For internal security, we'll be having 7 lectures. For the Indian polity, we'll be having 5 lectures. So, as regards internal security is concerned, internal security is having a weightage of around 50 to 60 marks in your GS paper 3. And every single year, roughly 4 to 5 questions are there from internal security in your GS paper mains, that is paper number 3 over there. Now, as regards the relevance of the subject is concerned, it is having its relevancy from the mains point of view. That means the questions from internal security are not asked in the UPSC prelims. Yes, but at times it has happened that the questions from internal security have been asked in the prelims also, like around 2017 and 18. They have asked certain questions, like around 3-4 questions from the cyber security area. Now, sometimes like 5% there can be the possibility with respect to those questions over there. What would be our modus operandi for the subject in the class is that will major focus on building the concepts. That means our major focus would be always building on the concept. That means I would avoid giving the dictations in the class. Rather, your dictation part would be supplemented by the handouts as well as with the help of yellow book. Yes, for my domain, it's a special request that you should go through the yellow book because I have prepared it of my own in such a manner that it synchronizes with the class content. Let's say we are dealing with the cyber security today, let's suppose. So that in the very same manner, like we are discussing in the class, it is covered in the yellow book also. That is going to facilitate the dictation part over there. Apart from that, all the current affairs, etc. have been already updated over there. A few of the areas which, if left, will be covered in the handouts. Now, in that case scenario, I'll provide you the solutions for all the previous year questions from 2014-15 onwards that have been asked in the domain. Apart from that, 5 model questions for every single topic that we'll be doing, along with the model hints also. And that is all we will be having for the internal security. You need not to buy any of the external book, need not to refer any of the external source with reference to this domain. That means our class would suffice the purpose for the internal security at all the 3 tiers of the examination. Now, in that case scenario, the only one request that is made from you people is with respect to the subject that if possible, please read the Indian Express. That means I would not recommend the Hindu over here. For the internal security domain, Indian Express is very important. Okay, now you see there are certain set of selective articles that are available that might be supplementary to you people on the Telegram channel also of the institute. Those can also be referred for the purpose. Okay, chaliye. Without wasting any further time, let's start off with our subject. Yes. Now, thing is, you might not have got the yellow book as some of the online students are raising the queries, but you will get it soon. As soon as they are printed, they will be available to you. With respect to internal security, let's talk about a certain set of events that you people come across in your day-to-day life in terms of the newspaper readings or in terms of certain set of headlines that have been hitting the electronic as well as print media. Like Udaipur violence. Udaipur violence. I presume every one of you is aware of it. It has erupted because of the controversial remark made by Nupur Sharma against the prophet of a particular religion. Now, the same state of Rajasthan has also seen the events of communal clashes for the past 2 years also. There were a number of violent communal clashes noticed in the state of Rajasthan. Further moving south, in the state of Maharashtra, I presume every one of you have heard about 26/11. That was the day of Mumbai terror attack. Now, the same state of Maharashtra, more specifically the capital city of Mumbai, has faced a cyber attack called Shadow Pad. It is an example of a cyber attack. It's an example of cyber attack. If you are aware of it, it was more or less an attempt to halt the operations of Mumbai electricity grid, and quite successfully it has succeeded in halting the operations also, like for something around 24 to 48 hours. The operations were also halted. Now, further moving south to the state of Kerala, the state of Kerala has been battling with the social engineering attacks. The social engineering attacks. What are social engineering attacks? A term of the newspaper lexicon that you people often come across in your day-to-day readings. What is social engineering? Now, what happens in social engineering is that this certain set of manipulators, means the propagator of the narrative, by using the nexus between the internet and social media, they try to influence the mindset of the individual. That means they try to fill their ranks by radicalization. Like, you can take it in this manner. Let's presume a situation that I am a terrorist, okay, for the time being. In that case scenario, if I am taking it to social media to manipulate your mindset, and accordingly you are influenced by my ideology, and you also are willing to join my terror outfit, that is taken as an example of social engineering. Like, if I can give you the examples, last year, the 2 youths have been arrested from the Kerala airport, and those youths were willing to join the terror outfits like ISIS. I hope you know what is ISIS. It's a terror organization. Now, apart from that, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, they are battling with the menace of Naxalism. Naxalism is our own indigenous form of left-wing extremism. That means Naxalism is a form of left-wing extremism. I'm not saying that there are no other forms of left-wing extremism in other part of the world. But yes, when it comes to Naxalism, Naxalism is our own indigenous concept. Apart from these states, now if we can move to the northeastern states, they are having the issue with respect to insurgency, which is again a grave threat to our national security. Insurgency is always guided by what? Political ambitions. Political ambitions like what? Sovereignty. I hope you know the meaning of sovereignty. Yes, tell me what is the meaning of sovereignty. Anyone, please? Authority. Rather, if I can put it in more concrete term, I can say right to make your own decisions without any external interference. Right to make your own decisions externally and internally without any external interference. That is sovereignty. Heard about sovereignty in the preamble? Now, so it is guided by the idea of sovereignty. It is guided by the idea of autonomy. That means granting the statehood. Further, Northeast is battling with the issue of fake Indian currency networks. This is the new route, because Northeast is very much closer to Golden Triangle. So this is the new route with respect to fake Indian currency network. Now, in that case scenario, the point is, if we can further move to J&K, we can have the issue of cross-border terrorism. I hope you know what is cross-border terrorism. Now, in all the cases, please have a look at the board and listen to what I am saying. Now, in that case scenario, in all the cases, what you see is each of the event is having the modus operandi of its own. I hope you know the meaning of modus operandi. Means way of operation. It is having the modus operandi of its own. Second, the nature of its own. Third, the impacts of its own. Please. Now, please put your phone on the silent mode. Now, the thing is that each of this is having the modus operandi of its own, nature of its own, as well as impacts of its own. Let me give you the examples also. Communal clashes, Udaipur violence, they are inspired by communal tendencies having modus operandi, nature and impact of its own. 2611, example of terror attack. Shadow pad, example of cyber attack, modus operandi, nature and impact. Please try to analyze on the three parameters. Now, social engineering, yes, it's a part of what? Yes, get me a good word for it. Social engineering is a part of, can I say it's a part of psychological warfare? At the end of the day, you are trying to influence the psychology. It's a part of psychological warfare. Naxalism is a part of extremism, more specifically left-wing extremism. Insurgency itself is a threat inspired by the ideas of sovereignty as well as the political ambitions in terms of autonomy. Terrorism itself is an issue. Mob lynching, communal clashes, now drug trafficking, organ trafficking, human trafficking, prostitution, contract killings, kidnappings, terrorism, like this. Each of the event is having the modus operandi of its own, the nature of its own, as well as impacts of its own. But if we talk about the impacts, so there is one thing which is common among all is that any such event in any part of the country is a threat to the sovereignty of the country, to the territorial integrity of the country, to the public order, and to the rule of law. That means what I am trying to say is any event happening in any part of the country is a direct or indirect threat to the sovereignty of the country, to the territorial integrity of the country, to the public order, as well as to the rule of law. I presume you know the meaning of each of the word by now. All the four values are the cardinal component of a concept that we call as national security. So, can I make a conclusive remark and say that whenever any such event is happening in any part of the country, it's a direct or indirect threat to our national security? I hope things are making sense. In a line, take down the definition of national security. Write down. National security aims at protecting the interest of the citizens and state citizen and state by economic, political and diplomatic means. Protecting the interest of citizen and state by economic, political and diplomatic means. It further can be divided into external security, and internal security. External security and internal security. That means these are the two important parts of national security. Now stop writing and look at the board. Now let's try to differentiate between the two. With respect to external security, the threat will always originate from the foreign soil. The threat will always originate from the foreign soil. Examples, the four major wars that we have fought: 62, 65, 71, 98, 99. So what you see is the threats have always originated from the foreign soil. Now, with respect to the internal security, the threat can originate from the foreign soil, or it can originate from the domestic front. Or it can originate from the domestic front means domestic soil. You already have the example, foreign soil. Give me one example. Cross-border terrorism, or you can say proxy terrorism also. Now, domestic soil, Naxalism. Naxalism owes its existence to India itself at a place called Naxalbari in West Bengal from 1967 onwards. Second is, in case of external security, we always follow conventional warfare techniques. We always follow the conventional warfare techniques. What is conventional warfare? Conventional warfare means, if I can simplify it for you, it is referred as bullet versus bullet strategy. It is referred as bullet versus bullet strategy. Means what? If you are going to attack the security forces by any of the armed means, the security forces will also retaliate in the very same manner. That means, let's take it like this. If I am the security force, you are the non-state actors for the time being, hypothetical situation. If you are going to attack the state by means of the armed struggle, the state is going to react or retaliate in the very same manner. That is why we call it as bullet versus bullet strategy. With respect to internal security, we follow the conventional as well as non-conventional warfare techniques. Conventional as well as non-conventional warfare techniques. Conventional we already know. Bullet versus bullet means if there is an ambush onto the security forces by the Naxalites, it will be dealt in the very same manner. Non-conventional means what? This is very important. Non-conventional technique means what? Here it refers to the developmental approaches. Here it refers to the developmental approaches. What is the meaning of this word developmental approaches? Let's take a case study for it. Now, in order to understand the developmental approaches, in Jharkhand, there is an area called Saranda forest area. There is an area called Saranda forest area. This Saranda forest area, it was under the severe grip of Naxalism till 2011. That means it was severely affected by the Naxal movement till 2011. Now, in 2011, the government of Jharkhand, they developed an anti-Naxal force called Jaguar. They developed an anti-Naxal force called Jaguar. Now, this Jaguar anti-Naxal force, they conducted an operation called Operation Anaconda. They conducted an operation called Operation Anaconda. Okay. Now, the thing is, what happened in this Operation Anaconda was that they cleaned that area from the presence of Naxalites. That means they wiped out the presence of Naxalite from this particular area. So, I can say that area has been cleaned now. Now we got to maintain the hold over that particular area. I hope things are making sense. That means there was an area which was severely affected by the Naxal movement. Now, in that case scenario, we have cleaned that area. Now we got to maintain the hold over that particular area. Tell me what is the best approach to maintain the hold over the area. I hope you got the question right. Yes. One by one, I'll start from that side. Yes. What do you think? One by one, right? Yes. How? Absolutely. Very good. Correct. Infrastructural development. Fine. Other approaches? Absolutely. Welfare can be the other aspect. Fine. Okay. Agricultural development also accepted. Anything else? Yes. So are you in the indisciplinary activities also? I'll throw you out of the class also. Okay, I'm only soft by spoken, right? I am a core internal security person. I'll throw you out. I don't believe in defense. I believe in deterrence. Okay. So one more time I see you doing this, you will be out of the class for the remaining lectures also. I hope things are making sense. Now, yes. Providing health services accepted. Absolutely. Anything else? Employment. Okay. Want to say something? Yes. Employment accepted. Now, the thing is, better tum batao green wale. You are the only one who is wearing green, right? Batao. How you are going to? Let's say you are a collector. Hypothetical situation. Let's say you are a collector. मान लेते हैं with God grace. Yes. Tell me what you are going to do. What you are going to do? Tell me any of the part. This is a very simple question, right? It's not. And guesses are invited. Okay. Guess it. What you are going to do? The online students, yes. Your responses are equally being noted. Fine, accepted. Good recommendations. Now the thing is, now we got to maintain the hold, and you people have given very good set of points. Can I say, can I use a cumulative term for all, and that term would be development? After all, everything, right from the infrastructural development to the modernization, to the employment, to the social welfare, to the confidence building measure, they all are a part of development. So the government developed a policy called clean and hold policy. Developed a policy called clean and hold policy. Under clean and hold policy, they cleared every single area which was under the influence of Naxalite or Naxal movement by using the armed approach, and then they tried to maintain a hold over by the developmental plans. The very next year for Saranda, government of India and Jharkhand came up with a plan called Saranda Development Plan of 2012. That was 2012 and this is 2022. 10 years have already passed, not even a single major event of Naxal activity in Saranda. 10 years have passed and not even a single event of major Naxal activity in the Saranda. Why? Because development is the solution. Day before yesterday, if you are reading the newspapers, you might have come across a fact that in Kashmir also, the number of the tourists for the first time have become maximum in the 70 years. It has been a possibility by what? The number of militancy activity in the valley has reduced by a significant figure of 45%. What has been the possibility? How it has been a possibility? Because of the development. In the words of Robert McNamara, quote unquote, write down. In the words of Robert McNamara, quote unquote, write down. In the modern society, the security is not purely a military hardware. The security is not purely a military hardware, though it may encompass it, involve it. it may involve it or encompass. Comma, change the line and then write. Security is not purely a military activity in the next line. Security is not purely a military activity, though it may include it, comma, in the next line write down, then what is security? Then what is security? Put a question mark. Now in the next line again, quote unquote, security is development and development is security. Security is development and development is security. That is, without development, there is no security. Without development, there is no security. Full stop. I hope it is quite clear with you with respect to the non-conventional approach. Point number 3. With respect to the difference, the human rights violation in case of external security is low. In case of external security is low, and the human right violation in case of internal security is very high. The human right violation in case of internal security is very high. ठीक है, मतलब in case of external security they are low, in case of internal security they are very high. Now, to a few of you, it might actually appear to be a bit contradictory statement. That means you might end up saying that, sir, in that case scenario, what Russia is doing in Ukraine is not the human right violation of the people of Ukraine. Of course it is. Every time when the Russian bombers are bombarding the Ukraine, it is a sheer violation of their human rights. But with respect to the intensity of war, the wars are not that much frequent. With respect to the intensity of the wars are not that much frequent means what? It's a relative comparison. It's a relative comparison. That means, yes, it is there, but with respect to the external security situation, sorry, internal security situations, they are very low. Let me give you one example. Give me an event of human right violation in India. Just one case. Okay, fine, accept it. Give me something more concrete. Absolutely fine, fine, fine. That Kanhaiya Taylor was killed. Okay, fine. Something more concrete. Some law. Armed Forces Special Powers. Armed Forces Special Powers Act. I hope you have heard about this. We'll have a separate class on it. As of now, just remember, it's a military law that gives the unwarranted power, that gives the huge set of powers to the security forces, and further they are not held accountable for their actions. Like the number of casualties in Kargil war were 500. Casualties means 500 of our soldiers were martyred. The number of casualties in the Armed Forces Special Powers Act with respect to civilians, 1528. 1528. That means 3 times than that of the Kargil war. That was a war. And these are the event of extrajudicial killing, and mind this, in the single state of Manipur. I'm not counting the 7 sisters. That means almost 3 times civilian killings with respect to the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the state of Manipur. And the number of casualties in Kargil war, 500. And one last set of difference, point number 4. And that is, external security is managed by Ministry of Defense. External security is managed by Ministry of Defense, and internal security is managed by, yes, Ministry of Home Affairs. Absolutely fine. Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay. Chaliye. Now, let's move on to internal security. After some basic aspects of security, let's talk about internal security. Internal security as a domain can be divided into three important aspects, or I can say three subdomains. First is whose security. First is whose security. That means it refers to the security of citizens. It refers to the security of rule of law. It refers to the security of our constitutional values. It refers to the security of our public order, etc. etc. That means security of citizens, rule of law, constitutional values, and public order. Second important domain is from whom. That means from whom means what? Threats. From whom means threats. Threats can further be subdivided into two categories, namely the traditional threats, and non-traditional or neo threats. Non-traditional or neo threats. Sometimes they are also known as new threats. All are same. New threats, non-traditional threats, new threats, all are same. Traditional threats. Terrorism. Naxalism. Insurgency. Insurgency with respect to Northeast, Punjab, and J&K. Northeast, Punjab, and J&K. Though in the syllabus it is only mentioned Northeast, but we'll take Punjab also and Kashmir also in our considerations. Now, apart from these border disputes, communalism or communal conflicts, etc. Non-traditional threats includes, yes, give me examples. Cyber war or cyber threat. Second, social media. Yes, social media is a threat for internal security sometimes. Yes, get me some other words. Money laundering, good. Organized crimes. Fake Indian currency networks, FICN. Fake Indian currency networks, etc. Fake India, FICN. Now, new threats, I am again repeating. Cyber war, social media, money laundering, organized crime, and fake Indian currency networks. Now, the third important aspect would be how to deal with them. How to deal with them. Yes. Yes, it can be a part of that. Fine. Yes, it can be. There are multiple numbers, right? But you see, we are talking only with respect to the syllabus, right? Drone terrorism can also be counted if you want to write down. Drone terrorism. Why we are adding? Because India has recently been a victim also last year. Now, the third is how. For how part, we will be having a 3-point strategy. The first strategy would be in terms of the policy framework. In terms of the policy framework. Second would be in terms of institutional framework. institutional framework. Third would be in terms of operational framework. Third would be in terms of operational framework. Now let me just explain you this part, that what is the correlation between the point number 2 and the point number 3 over here. Let's presume a situation we are having a threat cyber war. Let's presume a situation that we are having a threat of cyber war, or you can say other types of cyber crimes. Don't you think we got to devise a policy to deal with them? But the first identification starts off with the policy only. Accordingly, we have the policy in terms of cyber security policy of 2013, cyber security policy of 2020, and national electronics policy of 2012. Along with the national electronics policy, we have the IT Act also. Now, don't you think we got to raise certain set of institutions? Like we have, can you name me any such institution to deal with the cyber threats? Certain Computer Emergency Response Team India. Apart from that, we have NCIIPC, we have I4C, we have NTRO also. Certain we have already seen. So NIB is also there. Like this, we are having multiple number of institutions, or we are having a concrete institutional framework. This year only they have asked the question on this aspect. And the third is operational framework. What is operational framework? Operational framework basically refers to the procedural framework. Procedural framework as of, I hope if you are going through the readings of the newspaper, you might have heard about NetGrid, National Intelligence Grid. You might have heard about Netra. Apart from Netra, you might have heard about Cyberdome. There was a direct question in UPSC from that area. Apart from that, there are Cyber Swachhata Kendras also. So multiple number of operational frameworks are also there. CCTNS is also there. CMS is also there. Like this, we are having multiple set of operational framework. So in this manner, for every single problem, for every single issue, we'll be dealing with it in the 3-point framework over there. I hope things are making sense. This is our entire syllabus for internal sector. This is our entire syllabus. Have you seen the syllabus? Of course not. So this is your entire syllabus for the internal security. The very prerequisite to success in UPSC is what? The syllabus should always be on your tips, no matter which subject is there. If you don't remember the syllabus, there is no point behind studying. The syllabus should always be on your tips. Fine, I hope now you remember this syllabus. It's quite an easy task. So with this, we'll start off with the very first topic of the day. And that would be, yes, tell me how many of you are from the technical background in the class, means engineers, BSc, MSc, fine. And rest are from the non-technical background, fine. So we'll start off with the traditional topic. This is batch GS 29A, right? कौन सा batch है आपका? 29A ना? हाँ, fair enough. Now, E का मतलब भी बेटा GS batch के लिए होता है. First topic that will start is Northeast Insurgency. Northeast Insurgency. Take down the definition of insurgency in a line. Write down. Insurgency refers to an armed rebellion, an armed ARMED, armed rebellion by a group of citizens, usually with a political ambition, within bracket write down sovereignty or autonomy, within bracket write down sovereignty or autonomy, close the bracket, by the support of external state actors, by the support of external state actors, external state actors like Northeast insurgency, like Northeast insurgency. Full stop. Now stop writing and look. With respect to Northeast insurgency, there are four major reasons. First is historical, or I can say historical factors. Second, geographical factors. Third, cultural factors. Cultural factors. And fourth is miscellaneous factors. Miscellaneous factors. Now, with respect to this miscellaneous factors, they further can be subdivided into two categories, namely the political factors and economic and infrastructural factors. Infra-related factors. Economic or infra-related factors. Now, so again, I'm on the very brief note: historical factors, geographical factors, cultural factors, and miscellaneous factors. Miscellaneous further into political factors and economic or infrastructural factors. Let's start off with the first set of factors, that are historical factors. First is British policy. British policy. Now you see, just try to understand, just write down the keywords for your understanding. Rest I'll cover everything in the written, right? Now, British policy. British or the Britishers have followed a twofold policy in India, namely the policy of integration, the policy of integration, and policy of isolation, and policy of isolation. So they have followed a twofold policy, namely the policy of integration and the policy of isolation. With respect to the policy of integration, they try to bring all the rest of Indian states, under the banner of British India. Under the banner of British India. That means they tried to consolidate their empire under the regime of British India. I hope in your modern India lectures you have come across the word like doctrine of lapse, doctrine of subsidiary alliance, etc. Heard these words or not? So they all were a part of what? They all were a part of policy of integration by one way or the other. Now, but with respect to the northeastern region, they have always followed a policy of isolation. They have always followed a policy of isolation. Means what? In the name of granting them cultural sovereignty. In the name of granting them cultural sovereignty, the northeastern region of India was extended with inner line permit. Was extended with inner line permit, or I can say ILP regime. That means the northeastern region was given the inner line permit under BEFR. ईयर बताओ, न्यूज़पेपर में आता ना, 1873, Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulations. As of now also, when this ILP is given, it is given under BEFR 73 only. What is inner line permit? Inner line permit is a kind of domestic visa. Inner line permit is a kind of domestic visa which is required to enter those states which are given ILP. Those states which are given ILP. And such a stay will always be a temporary stay. Such a stay would always be a temporary stay. Temporary stay means what? You don't have the right for permanent settlement. You don't have the right to permanent settlement in those areas. Again, the brief note, if I can tell you, all those regions which are extended with inner line permit, there you don't have the right to permanent settlement. You can temporarily stay there by seeking a permission from the local authorities, and it is like a domestic visa within your own sovereign domain. Now, the declared agenda of the Britishers was that we want to protect your cultural sovereignty. This was the declared agenda on part of the Britishers, that we want to protect your cultural sovereignty. What is the impact or what is the space of cultural sovereignty in the tribal culture? The tribals are ultra sensitive to their cultural value. Like if we talk about northeastern region of India, so on an average, after every 2 kilometers, the culture is changing in the northeast. Sometimes within a village itself, you will find a kind of diversified kind of culture over there. So they are highly sensitive towards their cultural values. So they don't tolerate any kind of transgression onto their cultural values. So Britishers have followed a policy called policy of isolation for them. But this was the declared agenda. What was the real agenda? Tell me. Guess what? What could be the real agenda of the Britishers? Okay, of course, it was to keep them segregated from the rest of India, of course, accepted. Fine, as a secondary point, I am accepting. Okay, resources aspect, anything else? Absolutely, wonderful. Now, the thing is that Britishers never wanted the Northeast to be a part of national freedom struggle. The Britishers never wanted Northeast to be a part of national freedom struggle. Now you see, get me the name of any 5 revolutionaries from the Northeast in the national freedom struggle. 5 in a row. 5 in a row, except the Queen. Name few others also, right? But if I ask you about naming the revolutionaries from rest of India, you will name me hundreds from Tilak to Bose. Now the thing is why? Because Northeast have been deliberately kept out of the national freedom struggle. It is not those people who are at fault. They have been kept isolated by the Britishers. What is the impact? The impact is even after the independence, the political integration has been a possibility. Political integration means as a piece of land, it has integrated into the Indian mainland, but the psychological integration has not been a possibility. It's a very important term. The psychological integration has not been a possibility. Why? Now you see, because they don't inherit the values that we have derived from the national freedom struggle. Now, take one example. If you are reading the newspapers, 10-15 days before, there was a body of the Naga representatives called NSCN, Nationalist Socialist Council of Nagaland. They came to Delhi to talk to the Home Minister. What were their 2 primary demands? First, separate constitution. Separate constitution because they don't consider themselves as a part of India. Second, what they want is a separate flag. Flag is a proof of or a symbol of identity. Why? Because they don't consider themselves as a part of what? A part of the Indian mainland. Now tell me something else. If I can make a statement and I say that those values that we have inherited from the national freedom struggle plays a very important role in unifying India into a single thread. Am I correct or wrong? Absolutely correct. Why? Because they are also part of our constitutional sources. But what about Northeast? Northeast has been deliberately kept out of those values or inheritance of those values because of this discriminatory policies of the Britishers. Now, in order to give them the inner line permit. Now, second important aspect or historical reason is delay in statehood. Delay in statehood and ways of state reorganization. Ways of state reorganization. Delay in statehood and ways of state reorganization. The primary demand on part of the northeastern states, have always been of sovereignty. Has always been of sovereignty. कि साहब हमें sovereign state दे दो. We'll be talking about state by state and therefore we will be analyzing their movements. So their primary demand have always been of sovereignty. But tell me something, can we give the sovereignty in India? Huh? Say yes or no? Why? Because India is sovereign, the states cannot be sovereign. India is sovereign, state cannot be sovereign. That means Uttar Pradesh cannot be sovereign, Punjab cannot be sovereign, Uttarakhand cannot be sovereign. But yes, autonomy can be granted. Say yes or no? Autonomy can be granted. How do we grant the autonomy in India? By giving them the statehood. List second of the Schedule 7. State list. Don't you think the states are autonomous in the majority of the areas except with certain set of exceptions? So, granting the statehood is a symbol of autonomy in country. It is not that the northeastern states have not been granted the autonomy by giving them the statehood. But yes, there has been a delay on part of the government. Delay on part of the Union of India. Take an example. Naga insurgency reached to its peak in 1960s. Naga insurgency reached to its peak in 1960s. You see, there was a leader called Fizo. We will discuss about him in this class itself. There was a leader called Fizo. He has declared independence from India. He has formed his own army and he has declared himself as the president of that particular country. Now, in that case scenario, now the government of India decided to give the statehood to Nagaland in the year 1963. That means when the insurgency has already scaled to the maximum, then the government thought to give the statehood. The same goes with respect to Mizo insurgency. Mizo insurgency started in the year 1959, reached to its peak 1959 in Assam. There was a district in Assam called Lushai Hills. It started over there. It reached to its peak and then the government granted the statehood in 80s. Then the government decided to grant the statehood in 80s. Apart from that, they were not happy with the ways of state reorganization. They were not happy with the ways of state reorganization. Fine, you have given the statehood, but not in a manner as they demanded. How? In 1960s, Assamese was given the recognition of the official language. Assamese was given the recognition of the official language. You see, all those major states of Northeast, they have come out from Assam only. Like Nagaland was also part of United Assam. Mizoram was also a part of it. Meghalaya was also a part of it. Arunachal was also a part of it. Mizoram was also part of this United Assam only. So in the entire setup, So they decided to recognize Assamese as the official language, and that was not acceptable to the rich tribes over there. Rich tribes means what? In terms of their cultural heritage. Rich in terms of their cultural heritage. It was not acceptable to them. Language is a very important part of culture. Language is a very core component of culture. Now, let's take it like this. Let's have a very simple analogy with respect to that. You people may be belonging to different states of India, ranging from South India to the North India, to the Northeast. But if I try to speak in a common tongue, that is Hindi over there in the North, will it be acceptable to you people? Absolutely not. Why? Because you see, the people from the South will not be in a condition to understand. The same goes with respect to the people in the Northeast also. Let me give you further more example. Few years back, we had a very learned HRD minister, that serial actress, right? Now, in that case scenario, the honorable HRD minister, she was highly educated. So during her tenure as the HRD minister, her ministry issued a circular, fine, and that circular was regarding the celebration of Hindi and Sanskrit. Beta, we can't see you. मैं शाहरुख खान थोड़ी ना हूं. You can hear me, right? That is enough. Now the thing is, during her tenure as a minister, her ministry passed a circular, and that circular was regarding the celebration of Hindi and Sanskrit week in the CBSE schools of Tamil Nadu. Now, can you expect the people of Tamil Nadu to have a better command over Hindi and Sanskrit? That is injustice. Do you have the better command over Tamil in the North? Absolutely not. So why are you expecting the people of Tamil Nadu to have a better command over Hindi? Simply, Hindi is spoken by 5-6 major states of India. It does not entitle you to declare it as the national language. And Hindi can never be the national language of this great country, because we are having the vernacular dialects of our own in one way or the other. Same goes with respect to these people. They tried to impose the Assamese language onto the cultures, the tribes with rich cultural heritage, and that was not acceptable. This is 2022, and as of now, also Bodos, it's a tribal community in Assam. They reject the 3-language formula of Assam. Why? Because they are having their own rich cultural heritage. They don't accept. They reject the 3-language formula of Assam. Take another thing. In order to respect their culture only, I hope you have heard about Schedule 8 of the Constitution. It deals with 22 official languages of Indian Union. Now, whenever there has been a recent extension of the Schedule 8, there has always been a language from the Northeast, like whether it has been Manipuri, whether it has been Bodo being the latest edition, just to recognize their culture, whether it has been Manipuri or whether it has been Bodo, to recognize their culture. Of course, it is not possible to add all the languages in the all the language in the 8th schedule. But at least some recognition can be given to the language which is spoken by a comparatively large proportion of tribes over there. Again, please take a note of it. Language is an important part of culture. Now, the third reason that can be cited, third historical reason, is claims by hostile elements. Claims by hostile elements. The 2 hostile elements that can be pointed out over here is China, and guess what? What could be the second? Pakistan. Pakistan. Bangladesh, before 71, Bangladesh was not there. It was East Pakistan. Now, the thing is China. Why China is supporting the insurgency in the Northeast? First, China do not recognize the sanctity of McMahon Line, and China do not count McMahon Line as the official border between India and China. As a result, what they believe is Arunachal Pradesh is a part of South Tibet, is a district of South Tibet, and South Tibet is a part of One China policy, OCP. It's a part of One China policy. Okay, you are asking about three language formula of Assam. The three languages over there. Yes, anyone from the Assam? Hindi, Assamese, and English. English in the formal education, for rest of the purposes, Hindi and Assamese to be spoken. Fine. Now, the thing is, now we'll talk about those aspects. These are the generalized reasons that we are discussing. What we will do is we will follow the approach, state by state approach over there. Now, it's a part of One China policy. That's why they have fueled the insurgency. How? By giving them the weapons. How? By giving them the monetary assistances. How? By giving them the training. WMT. By giving them the weapons, by giving them the money, and by giving them the tactical trainings or the strategic training. This is how China has played a very important role in fueling the insurgency in the Northeast. Remember, in the definition of insurgency, by the aid or support of the external state actor. Which is the external state actor over here? China. Now, Pakistan. Yes, this notorious son of ours, he has also been there. More specifically, before 1971, when Bangladesh used to be East Pakistan. You know this, na? Fine. At least this much you should be knowing, right? This is UPSC. Now, I won't be spoon feeding you over there. You got to know certain set of basic fundamentals of your own also. So you see, this before 71, it was East Pakistan, and East Pakistan was used as one of the major harbor by the insurgents. Harbor means what? They used to conduct the insurgent activities. They used to conduct the insurgent activities on the Indian soil, and they used to jump to East Pakistan. So in 71, Bangladesh was born. And this birth of our grandson has been a very auspicious occasion for us, yes. Because Bangladesh, after its formation, you might be knowing that India was the first country to recognize Bangladesh as a country. In that case scenario, Bangladesh, in return, in the official declaration, said that we won't be allowing the soil of Bangladesh to be used for anti-Indian activities. We won't be allowing any activities against the India from the Bangladeshi soil. Though any such declaration was given by the Sri Lanka also sometimes, but the situation turns in the international relations. This is how it goes. Now the thing is, so Pakistan has equally supported them in the Northeast. Certain set of basic historical factors. The next set of factors are geographical factors. Geographical factors. First is position of Northeast. Position of Northeast. Position of Northeast as of here we are having a region called Golden Triangle. Golden Triangle. Golden Triangle over there is famous for what? Drugs and weapons. Here on the top we are having, yes, Myanmar. Here Laos and Thailand. ठीक है, इधर कंबोडिया भी है पर वो स्ट्रेच पे आ जाता है. Now thing is Myanmar, Laos and Thailand. Here we are having a beautiful region called Golden Crescent. Because it is having beautiful countries like, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran. ठीक है, वैसे एक जो क्रिसेंट है, it is like this. For the sake of simplicity, मैंने थोड़ा सा इधर tilt कर दिया. Fine. Now the thing is, so Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. This region is again famous for what? Drugs. Opium is a drug only, right? Accepted. Yes. Weapon. Now, with respect to Golden Triangle and Golden Crescent, India, can I say that India is sandwiched between the two? So, this region is famous for drugs production and weapons sale. Drugs production and weapons sale, very important words. Drugs production and weapons sale. This region is famous for drugs sale and weapons production. And weapons production. Opposite. Here it is drugs production. Here is it is drugs sale. Here it is weapons sale. Here it is weapons production. Have you ever imagined a situation if a barter system is established between the two? Yes, the things have already started. The things have already started with respect to barter trade between the two, because in this stretch there are a number of organized crime groups which are hyperactive, specifically Punjab and all. Now there are a number of transit points with respect to this border. This is the stretch which is bordering with the northeastern state. You know, 99% of the northeast is having the borders, or you can say the international borders. 99% of the northeast. Now, so this is the stretch which is bordering with the northeastern, and these borders are highly porous. These borders are highly porous. They are very poorly guarded. In terms of security, these regions are very poorly guarded also. As a result, easy infiltration is possible. As a result, the very easy infiltration is possible. And mark my words, this is the new route for the fake Indian currency network. Okay, this is the new route for the fake Indian currency networks. Because you see, now the borders with Nepal, they are heavily guarded. So this is the new route for the fake Indian currency to enter the northeastern state. So multiple number of transit points poses a security threat to the northeast as well as to the rest of India also. Why? Because of the geographical position over there. Now, second aspect is the landlocked nature of northeast. Landlocked nature of northeast. I hope you know the meaning of landlocked, right? Now that is locked from the land on all the sides which are not having other means of communication, except what is the primary means of communication in riverway? Landlocked. Roads. Roads are the only means of transport. Now, of course, with poor air infrastructure. With respect to transport, the road is the primary means of transport. And don't you think the interstate dependence should be very high? In fact, the interstate dependence becomes very high when you are having roads as the only means of transport. But what if you are having the border disputes with the adjoining states? What if you are having the border disputes with the adjoining states? Now, let me give few examples. Assam is having the border disputes with Mizoram. Assam is having the border disputes with Meghalaya. Assam is having the border disputes with Arunachal. Assam is having the border disputes with Nagaland. Assam is regarded as gateway of the northeast. Is regarded as gateway of northeast means what? If you want to enter northeast, you will have to go via Assam. If you want to come out from the northeast, you have to come out via Assam. It is the gateway to the northeast. And Assam is having the border disputes with the majority of the states. What would be the result? The result would be depicted in the form of what we call as economic blockade. economic blockade, which is a very frequent phenomenon in the Northeast. Now you take it like this: limited economic activities because of the difficult geographical terrain, geographical complexity, and in the limited economic activities also there are situations like economic blockade. Now why? Because of the landlocked nature. So one of the geographical reason. Now third, very basic or very, you might have already heard about it, with respect to chicken neck. Everyone aware of it? Chicken neck is a Siliguri corridor. No. Chicken neck is a narrow stretch of around 21 to 43 kilometers which connects rest of India to the northeast. Fine. Somewhere over here is Sikkim. Now in that case scenario, tell me something, okay? I'm not discussing this point because you might have already seen it in detail in the IR classes. Now the thing is that, if I say under any of the unfortunate circumstances, if we end up losing chicken neck, got the question? If under any of the unfortunate circumstances, let's say we have lost the control of chicken neck, then how you are going to go to the northeast? Don't say air. All those Bajrang Balis in the class, don't say air. Via Bangladesh. Around Bangladesh. Give me the name of the two projects. Absolutely fine, accepted, good, very good. Can I say Kaladan River multimodal project? It's a multimodal project. It's a very, very important project. Why? First from sea to river, from the river to road, a narrow stretch of 100 kilometers of road. This is how we'll be reaching the IS1. Second is, as you have said, via a highway. There is a highway which is being constructed via a place called Akura in Bangladesh. Akura Highway. Recently, you might have seen that some border patrol points have also been increased from 8 to 12 over there on that particular highway. Also, it's an international highway. Next, smaller reason that can be cited is with respect to geographical complexity. Geographical complexity. Geographical complexity means what? Geographical complexity means, first, northeast is having difficult terrain, or I can say difficult terrainic features. Second, it is inhabited by dense forest. It is inhabited by dense forest. So what would be the impact? Tell me. What would be the primary impact of these two factors? Come on, it's not nuclear science. Absolutely. Can I say, combining all the other points, that deployment of security forces is a very difficult task? Deployment of security forces is a very difficult task in the northeast. Now, another factors that can be seen is northeast is highly rainy and the floods are also very frequent, more specifically in the Brahmaputra Valley and the Barak Valley. So floods are very frequent. What would be the result? Epidemics are very common. Epidemics is a very frequent phenomenon in the northeast, of course, with poor medical infrastructure. The third set of reasons include the cultural reasons. Or cultural factors. There is only one cultural factor, and that is known as cultural isolation. Cultural isolation. What is the meaning of cultural isolation? A term of the newspaper lexicon. The cultural isolation means that the people in the Northeast believes that their culture is not enjoying the respect as mainstream culture of India. Their culture is not enjoying the respect as mainstream culture of India. What is mainstream culture means? In India, we are having the two dominant races, namely the Aryans and Dravidians. We are having the two important races. But the people in the Northeast, they are often characterized by their looks. They are often characterized by the looks or the features, and their identity is often associated to the Mongoloid origin. Their identity is often associated to the Mongoloid origin, means merely because of the features that they are carrying, they are associated with Mongolia. Now, sometimes they are also associated with Nepal or Nepalese origin and a number of other Southeast Asian countries also. That they belong to Southeast Asian countries merely because of the features, merely because of the looks that they are carrying over there. Now, like in North India, there is a very derogatory word. I'm saying derogatory, it's a slang, it's an abuse, which is specifically used for the people of the Northeast, and that is called chinky. Now, calling someone chinky is a crime. Of course, it depicts your third-class mentality also, those who say it. But calling someone chinky is a crime. Those who were a committee recommendation against the violence of the people of the Northeast in the metro cities. So what we will say, that they are often associated. Why? Because merely because of their feature. Now, let me give you one example. Last year, that was COVID time, there was a senior research fellow from Northeast at a place. There is a place in Delhi called Vijayanagar. It's near that Delhi University North Campus. Now, in that case scenario, that senior research fellow, that girl was standing at a chemist shop 8 in the evening, and some local miscreants came and they spitted on her face. They spitted on her face, and those miscreants, they started shouting that it is you Chinese people who are responsible for the spread of the COVID in our country. It is you Chinese people who are responsible for the spread of the COVID in our country, and then you say that why the people of the Northeast are not integrated. You see, that is the reason why psychological integration has not been a possibility with respect to the Northeast. Now, take another example. You might have seen there was a video, few videos which were circulating on social media with respect to the Northeast. There was a fellow from Nagaland. I think he's a BJP minister over there. Now, his videos were circulating, and in his videos, he said that when I landed in Delhi for the first time, the people at Chandni Chowk, they asked me, you have come from which country? Merely because of the feature that individual is carrying, you are saying that you have come from which country? He said that I come from Nagaland. He said that, oh, the people started saying that, oh, Nagaland, is it a separate country? Do we have to take a visa to enter into Nagaland? Now, this is the mindset that the people are having in Delhi, that do we have to take a visa to enter into Nagaland? Now, in that case scenario, and further, someone spread the rumor that the people of that Nagaland area, they are feeding on human flesh, cannabis eating. Is it the impression that you are having with respect to Northeast? Then you talk about the psychological integration of the Northeast. You people, I consider you are intellectual. Okay, for the time being, I say that to the every batch. Now, slowly and gradually, okay, the time will tell the story. Now, the thing is that even among you people who are considered to be the social intellectuals, what you will find, the people from the Northeast, they tend to remain isolated in their own groups. Why? Deliberatively, they have been kept out of it. Absolutely. It happens everywhere. Not Delhi is not an exception. It happens everywhere. Wherever you will see, you will find them in isolation. Why? Because they have been kept isolated. They have not been felt comfortable in any of the part of the country. Now, have you ever imagined a situation if that individual who spitted on that girl over there in the Vijayanagar, if he would have spitted at any person belonging to Western Uttar Pradesh, that person would have regretted that he had a tongue once. Fine, I belong to the same area. Now the thing is what? He would have regretted that I had a tongue once. Why? Because simply those people are innocent, those are generous. It does not entitle you to exploit them to the maximum. Take another example with respect to culture. Bollywood, which is regarded as a factory of cultural assimilation, as different kind of cultures are respected, and we must, okay, we have an agreement on that. We accept that, right? That different cultures are enjoying the different set of respects over there in the Bollywood. But what about the representation of the people from Northeast in Bollywood? Tell me any leading actor, present era, from Northeast. Yes, tell me. तुम बताओ बेटे चश्मे वाले उधर. हाँ, yes, बिल्कुल सही. Tell me any leading actor from Northeast in the Bollywood. Otherwise, I will make you dance to my own tunes. नागिन डांस करवा दूंगा क्लास में. बताओ. आने ऐसा है मिस्टर नॉस्ट्राडमस. Yes, tell me any leading actor. Okay, tell me the actress. Ask your neighbor. Tell me the actress. Yes, you. सिंगर और एक्टर में फर्क नहीं जानते हो, हैं? फिर गुड, वेरी गुड. 6 साल लग जाते हैं कई बार याद करने में. 6 अटेम्प्ट होते हैं. नाउ द थिंग इज you won't remember because hardly there are any. You won't remember because there are hardly any. Okay, there might be. I'm saying those Bollywood actor of a very sound stature in the Bollywood. Apart from that, what you will find is same goes with respect to actresses also. Now we in India, we are having the very well flourished cinema industry. More specifically, I can say regional cinema industry. Starting from the south part of India, those wonderful South movies working on the anti-gravity principles. They are everyone's favorite. Okay, the Hollywood style movies, they are everyone's favorite, right? Now the thing is, further moving up, Maharashtra, wonderful set of regional cinema industries, equally great. Now the thing is, Gujarat, very well developed regional cinema industry. Rajasthan, very well developed folk industry. Madhya Pradesh is equally having a good industry. Now Kashmir also is having these days very good regional cinema industry. Okay, name me a few other. Punjabi movie industry is also very good, right? Okay, don't name Bhojpuri, right? That's not the kind of entertainment I'm expecting in the class. Now the thing is, different states are having their own regional cinema industry, but when it comes to Northeast, why Northeast is an exception? Except for the state of Manipur. Count Manipur as an exception. Why it is that the regional cinema industry is not flourished? And you see, regional cinema is a very important point of connectivity in the modern era. So that is the reason that they felt themselves as culturally isolated. Now, the last set of reasons are miscellaneous factors, and then miscellaneous factors first are political factors. Political factors. Political factors, first is poor representation at union legislature. Poor representation at the union legislature. Why? Because in India, the states are not carved out on the basis of equality of states. The states are not formed on the basis of equality of state. Rather, they are formed poor representation at the union legislature. Now, the thing is, states are not carved out on the basis of equality. They are carved out on the basis of what? Proportional representation. We are talking about political representation. Proportional representation means Uttar Pradesh is having 80 seats in the Lok Sabha. You might be knowing this aspect. Entire of the Northeast is not having 1/5 of what Uttar Pradesh is having. 7 states. Equality means what? One vote for Telangana, one vote for Andhra, one for Sikkim, one for Arunachal, one for Kashmir. But the states have not been carved out on the basis of equality, rather they have been carved out on the basis of proportional representation. Northeast accounts for 4% of India's population and 8% of India's geographical area. That is why it is having very poor representation. Now, let me give you one example. Nagaland. You know how many seats are there in Nagaland with respect to Lok Sabha? Guess what? One. Entire state is having one seat over there. Around 7 years back, our Honorable Prime Minister, His Excellency, went to Nagaland, whereby he signed the historic Modi-Naga Peace Accord. And in that historic Modi-Naga Peace Accord, a promise was made. And in his historical speech, His Excellency said that now the people with the state of Nagaland, they have faced enough of political discrimination. So now it is the time to bring them into the mainstream, or these masses into the political process. As a result, we are going to change the number of seats of Lok Sabha from Nagaland. Presently, they stand at 1, we will make it 2. That was a promise which was extended 7 years before. 7 years have already passed, nothing has happened in that case scenario. Second, with respect to Northeast, there is a phrase which is often in use, and that is called parachute politics. Parachute politics of Northeast. What is parachute politics? Parachute politics is that leaders are decided in New Delhi. Leaders are decided in New Delhi, and at the time of elections, they are dropped in the Northeast. At the time of the election, they are dropped in the Northeast. I can say, you see, the politically sensitive people of the Northeast, politically active people of the Northeast, they are not residing in the Northeast, rather they are residing in the more developed part of the country like Delhi. As a result, they are very much near to this political epicenter in Delhi. So at the time of election, their names are decided in Delhi, and their names are decided in Delhi, and at the time of election, they are suddenly dropped over there. Like this has happened in Manipur last year. Even their chief minister, that was decided in Delhi, and he was suddenly dropped over there at the time of election. The same goes with respect to, or in fact, there is another term that is used for Northeast, and that is, it is remote controlled region of India. It is remote controlled region of India, and of course, the remote lies in New Delhi. That means they try to monitor Northeast from Delhi. They try to monitor the Northeast from Delhi. In fact, there is another term, and that is known as economic package politics. Economic package politics of Northeast. What is economic package politics of Northeast? At the time of election, the huge economic packages are declared for the northeastern states. But these economic packages are declared without any monitoring mechanism. Without any monitoring mechanism. Now you tell me something, being the student of governance, that in the absence of monitoring mechanism, what could be the impact with respect to these economic packages of huge economic stimuli? Corruption, leakage effect. Now, if I can quote the word of our former Prime Minister, His Excellency Rajiv Gandhi, who has said that if center is going to release ₹1 for a beneficiary, by the time it is reaching the beneficiary, it is becoming 15 paisa. By the time it is reaching the beneficiary, it is becoming 15 paisa, means what? 85 paisa is for corruption, that we call as leakage effect. That we call as leakage effect in economy. And yes, with respect to the northeastern state, the leakage effect is very high. It would further contribute to what? Corruption. The corruption with respect to government policy is very high in the northeastern region of India. Now, the second set of reasons under miscellaneous reasons are the infrastructural or economic reason. Infrastructural or economic reasons or factors. First is, just take down a statement, quote unquote, write down. Right now, Northeast is rich in resources, but poor in destiny. Northeast is rich in resources, but poor in destiny. Now let's see how. Stop writing, look here. Northeastern region of India accounts for 20% of India's petroleum resources. It accounts for 20% of India's petroleum resources. That means 20% of our petroleum resources are coming from Northeast. But what about revenue sharing? The revenue sharing is marginal with respect to the northeastern states. The revenue sharing is marginal with respect to the northeastern state. You can use the word negligible also. Both would suffice the purpose. Now, second is, Northeast is having the very huge potential of hydroelectricity. Northeast is having the huge potential of hydroelectricity, specifically the state of Manipur. They are having the scope of very huge hydroelectricity development. But what about the energy security of Northeast? The energy security is very poor in the Northeast. Energy security is very poor in the Northeast. Now, another aspect is with respect to infrastructure. Now, with respect to infrastructure, Northeast is having very poor infrastructure with respect to roads. Northeast is having very poor infrastructure with respect to road. Let me give you a case study. There is a district in Manipur called Tamenglong. Have you ever heard about this district? Now, in that particular district, what happens? There was a village, I think, Donong. So, in this district, there were two women who were suffering from labor pain. Okay, that during the childbirth, they were suffering from labor pain. To your surprise, the first primary health center was 54 kilometers away from their home. The first primary health center was 54 kilometers away from their home. And what is more shameful in the entire episode? The poor villagers of the village, they decided to carry the two women on the bamboo stretchers, passing through the narrow hilly tracts, walking over, you say something around over the night. Then they decided to admit the two women in the first primary health center, and the very next day, there is a tweet from the Honorable Minister, and the tweet says that the two kids and their mother are best of their health. That the two kids and their mothers they are best of their health. And this is what. So, you see, there is this, that is why you see it is a remote control region of India. And of course, the tweet lies in Delhi. Now, take another example, railways. 73 years of independence. And after 73 years of independence, the last train reached in Manipur last year? So the first train reached in Manipur last year. Train was a bit slow. It took 73 years to reach. You see, 73 years of independence is something, it has brought a gift for them in the form of a train. Airports, very poor connectivity of the airports. Very poor. Now, after the standoff with China, we are building a very sound airport infrastructure over there. But before that, the airport infrastructure, as of now, also present status quo, it is very poor with respect to that. Okay. Transport infrastructure, equally poor. Telecom infrastructure, very poor. Let me give you one example. Now, after your selection, you will be getting the opportunity for Bharat Darshan. Okay, if you are selected with God grace. Now, in that case scenario, you will get an opportunity for Bharat Darshan. Now, the thing is, in the Bharat Darshan, you will also be taken, provided that you are an official of All India Services, AIS. You will also get the opportunity to go to Arunachal Pradesh. Okay? When you will be standing at the international border, on the Indian side, your cell phone would be taking the signals of Chinese telecom service provider. That is what we have achieved in the 75 Azadi Ka Maha Mahotsav. Yes, you can, of course, you cannot use this word, but frankly speaking, this is what 75 years of telecom infrastructure, and there we are launching 5Gs. There we are launching 5Gs, and you see, your own state is having the signals from the Chinese telecom service provider. Internet infrastructure very poor. Internet infrastructure very poor. Citizen-centric services absent. Citizen-centric services absent. E-governance very poor. Doorstep delivery of services does not exist. Doorstep delivery of services, it does not even exist in the Northeast. Now, okay, talk about something more also. The temples of learning, IIT. I know only one, you will name me the rest. Guwahati, I will say, you will tell me the rest. Rest IIT is in Northeast. Only one. I will tell you Shillong, you will tell me the rest. There is no IIM except Shillong. Now, so these are certain set of grave challenges that are being faced by the Northeastern region. If I can conclude the entire short discussion of ours in a statement, I can say, see the irony of our great nation, that on one part we are having the developed regions like Delhi, where the last year, just listen to this, don't write this statement. It can be counted as a derogatory remark also. Now, the thing is, on one part of the country, like Delhi, the most best government in the world that we are having, as per their chief minister proclaims. Now, last year, Delhi government has come up with an amendment in their liquor policy. अपनी excise policy में amendment किया Delhi government ने, and that was that now all those dear citizens who are not able to come to the liquor procurement centers, often called thekas, now we are initiating the doorstep delivery of alcohols. If you are not able to come to alcohol, the alcohol will come to you. And then there is a region like Northeast. Then there is a region like Northeast where they are missing even the basic of the essential or the necessary services at their doorstep. So in the exam, they are always asking, they are always using a collective term that is called NER, Northeastern region or Northeastern states. But what we will do over here is, we will follow state by state approach. So that in case the question is raised from anywhere, you would be in a condition to answer that. The first state that we will be taking is Assam for the purpose. Assam. The state of Assam was invaded by the Ahom invaders They were also known as Shan invaders. Ahom invaders or Shan invaders. And these Shan invaders, they established a home kingdom over there. They established a home kingdom over there. This Ahom kingdom was also known as Asama in Sanskrit, was also known as Asama in Sanskrit, and later on this Asama became Assam. Later on in the British it is known as Assam. Assam is majorly dominated by 35 tribes, and those 35 tribes, like if I can name a few of them, Sinas, Kiritas, Bodos, etc. Sinas, Kiritas, Bodos, etc. If you want to remember the name, that's fine. If you don't want to remember the name, very fine. I know them, that's why I wrote. Now, Sinas, Kiritas, Bodos, and they are known by a collective term called Asur. That means Asur is a collective term that is used to denote the 35 primitive over. Online doubt from where the Ahoms came. मेरे नानी के घर से आए हैं, क्या लेने आपने, कहां से आए वो, ठीक है? That is something which UPSC won't be asking, right? Now, like there was a student who asked me a question, right? He said that, sir, why they are called as Asur? Why they are called as Asur? मैंने कहा मेरी बुआ के लड़के लगते हैं, मुझे क्या पता, ठीक है? So these stupid questions won't be asked, right? Ask the pragmatic questions. Okay, now the thing is, Sinas, Kiritas, Bodos, etc., they are known by a collective term, and that is Asur. Tell me, what is the first problem, first major problem with respect to state of Assam? Internal security. Okay, fine. Get me a collective term for it. In fact, get me the reasons. Can I say illegal migration? The first major problem is illegal migration. There we'll discuss about Assam Accord, NPR, NRC, what is the conflict with respect to CA and all. Now, so now the thing is, with respect to the illegal migration, it all starts, just please take the chronology. 1971 was the year of Bangladesh Liberation War. Bangladesh was born. 1975, what happened in the country? National emergency was declared by Indira ji. Now, national emergency was declared by Indira ji. It remained for 19 months, and after that, 1977, Janata Party government was formed. This much I think you might be knowing already. And who was the Prime Minister? Mr. Morarji Desai was the Prime. The same Janata Party government was formed in Assam also. The story starts from here on. The same Janata Party government was formed in Assam also. And in Assam, this government was formed under the leadership of Mr. Borbora. Was formed under the leadership of Mr. Borbora, or I can say Mr. Borbora was the chief minister over there. Now, during the term of Borbora as the chief minister, the chief election commissioner, they conducted a press conference over there. And in this press conference, he made a very important statement. And the statement was that all illegal migrants should not have voting rights. Should not have voting rights. That was a time when Election Commission of India used to speak. Now, the thing is, so all the illegal migrants, they should not have the voting rights. This is a very, very big statement. And Mr. Borbora endorsed the statement. Mr. Borbora endorsed the statement, supported the statement. Person with slightest rightist orientation. He supported the statement which led to the fall of his government. Which led to the fall of his government. Why? Because you see, just one small political reason, just listen to it, don't write it. One small political reason was, there were two very dominant Muslim ministers in his cabinet. For the two Muslim ministers, those illegal migrants were what? Voting bank. Accordingly, the two Muslim ministers decided to resign, and it led to the fall of Borbora government over there. Okay? The very next thing was the formation of a new government under the leadership of Jogendra Hazarika. Now, Jogendra Hazarika became the chief minister, and Hazarika belonged to the Congress party over there. But during the term of Jogendra Hazarika, also one important development took place, and that was, there was a constituency in Assam called Mangal-Doi. There was a constituency in Assam called Mangal-Doi. It was an MP constituency. So the member of parliament of Mangal-Doi, he died. The member of parliament of Mangal-Doi constituency, he died. So the Election Commission of India decided to conduct the by-elections. This is how it goes. You might be knowing this. Mini election. They decided to conduct the by-election over there. And in the by-election, the Election Commission of India decided to revise the electoral list. They decide to revise the electoral list. So in the by-election, they decided to revise the electoral list. And meanwhile, they were revising the electoral list, they got a complaint. Very important. And the complaint was that there are 70,000 illegal Bangladeshis. There are 70,000 illegal Bangladeshis in Assam. And you see, that is quite a number. There are 70,000 illegal Bangladeshis in Assam, and that is quite a number. Now, in that case scenario, Election Commission of India referred the matter to Hazarika. He was the chief minister, center also Congress government. Now the thing is, Jogendra Hazarika decided to constitute a tribunal to look into the matter. Decided to constitute a tribunal to look into the matter. It was a state-backed tribunal. The tribunal submitted the report and said that yes, they are, but they are 45,000 in number. They are, but they are 45,000 in number. That means at least acceptance was there. But 45,000, it is also quite a remarkable figure. So the tribunal in its report said that they are 45,000 in number, not 70,000. So you see, Jogendra Hazarika was in a political dilemma to act or not to act. Why? Because at the grassroots level, there were protests which were going on in Assam. At the grassroots level, there were protests which were going in Assam on the matter of illegal migration. On the matter of illegal migration. Now, you try to look it like this. Again, I'm just starting from the initial thing, right? In case you have missed anything. See, 71, Bangladesh Liberation War. 75, emergency. 77, new government of Janata Party at the union level. The same government was formed in Assam also under the leadership of Borbora. Borbora had two dominant Muslim ministers who resigned because of the controversial remark of the CEC, and Borbora is supporting that controversial remark. Jogendra Hazarika as the chief minister. Mangal-Doi constituency's MP died. Because of his death, by-elections were conducted. By-election, Election Commission of India receiving a complaint of 70,000 illegal Bangladeshis in the state of Assam. Now, Borbora constituted a tribunal to look into the matter because it was a very sensitive matter, because mass level protests were going on in Assam against these illegal migrants who were coming from Bangladesh. Mass level protests were going on because of the illegal migrants coming from Bangladesh. Kyun bhai? They were killing their job opportunities. They were a kind of a transgression unto the cultural value. They were they were reshaping the demography of the region. So as a result, mass level protests were going on, and the mass level protests over there were led by an outfit called ASU. Were led by a student organization called ASU. Stands for All Assamese Student Union. All Assamese Student Union. If I say All Assamese Student Union, it won't be incorrect if I say that it has been the most powerful student outfit in the history of India. Yes. Most powerful student outfit in the history of India, because they enjoyed the universal mass appeal among the people of Assam. That means the people of Assam greatly supported them, and ASU was formed only on one idea, and that was deport the illegals. That means deport the illegals. Deport the illegals means send all those illegals back to their own homeland. ASU was invited for talks by the government of India after that, and ASU, government of India talks started. Guess what? Who was government of India's representative? Indira Gandhi. Indira in her best year, talking to a student outfit. That itself speaks for us. Now, the talks started, the talks revolved around two agendas. First agenda was of ASU. And ASU was not ready to compromise. That means ASU was adamant on the demand of deport the illegal. And in fact, deport all. Deport all. Second was government of India's agenda. Government of India's agenda was, okay, we are ready to deport, but only those who came after 71. Only those who came after 71. Why 71? Because in 71, Bangladesh was created. So when their own country was created, why they should migrate towards India? I hope things are making sense. When Bangladesh was created, don't you think the migration should stop? Why are you migrating towards a more prosperous side, that is India? You should remain in your own countries. That was government of India's agenda. What do you think? What could be the result of the talks? Failed? Success? The talks failed. And after that, in 1984, Indira Gandhi was assassinated. You might be knowing this. So it was the term for the new Prime Minister, Mr. Pilot, Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi was a very qualified pilot. That's why he made his own government fly. Now, the thing is, Rajiv Gandhi, 1985. The talks resumed with ASU at the time of Rajiv Gandhi, and the Rajiv Gandhi government, or I can say government of India, and ASU talks now, of course, Rajiv Gandhi being the Prime Minister, resulted in what we call as Assam Accord. The talks between the government of India and ASU resulted in what we call as Assam Accord. What was Assam Accord? That would be our major topic of discussion after this. Now, Assam Accord. Assam Accord was a two-party agreement signed between ASU and Government of India. It had 15 clauses. It had 15 clauses, but out of the 15 clauses, only two are important, clause number 5 and clause number 6. Clause number 5 and clause number 6 are collectively known as Heart of Assam Accord. They are collectively known as Heart of Assam Accord. All those 13 clauses, those are vague. Why? Because they talk about development. Now, only two clauses are important, clause number 5 and clause number 6. You also remember the same, right? The thing is, what was there in the clause 5? First, What was there in the clause 5? It's an important clause. Please pay attention to this part. Clause 5. You know the history behind Assam Accord now? That how Assam Accord came to existence? Fine. Now the thing is Assam Accord, clause 5. Clause 5 of the Assam Accord basically consisted of 3 timelines. And those 3 timelines were, like, first was on or before 1st January 1966. Very important date. On or before 1st January 1966. Second was between 1st January 1966 to 24th of March 1971. Her timeline was after 24th of March 1971. After 24th of March 1971. Now, what was contained in the 3 timelines over there? Now, with respect to the 3 timelines, what was contained in the 3 timelines over there was, the first timeline said on or before 1966, they will be regularized. They will be regularized and they will be getting the citizenship. They will be regularized and they will be getting the citizenship. Means, I hope you know the meaning of on or before 1st January 1966. On or before, you have heard about this clause in citizenship, say yes or no. That means midnight of what? Midnight of 31st of December. On or before, sorry, midnight of this date, 1st January 1966. Okay, just some technical error. Now, in that case scenario, all those who came on or before this date, they will be regularized, they will be getting the citizenship, they will be getting the voting rights. Or in fact, I can use a collective term that all the citizenry rights will be extended to them. Second timeline. Those who came between this timeline, they will not be regularized, rather they will be registered as foreign nationals. They will be registered as foreign nationals and they will be getting the citizenship after 10 years. They will be getting the citizenship after 10 years. I hope things are making sense. Now, let me explain this part. All those who came between this timeline, they will be registered as foreign nationals and they will be getting the citizenship after 10 years. Now, let me tell you how it worked at the grassroots level. It goes like, you see, let's presume a situation, okay, for the better understanding. Let's say I am a person who came between this timeline. Okay, I am a person who came between this timeline from Bangladesh. Now, not Bangladesh, at that time it was East Pakistan. So, in that case scenario, if I am detected by the authorities, let's say some authorities have detected me, within 60 days, 60, within 60 days of detection, I'll have to register myself at an authority called FRRA. I'll have to register myself at an authority called FRRA under the provisions of Foreigners Registration Act of 46. Under the provisions of Foreigners Registration Act of 1946. If I am not registering myself, then I will be counted as illegal migrant. That means within 60 days of my detection, I have to register over here at this authority under the provision of the act. Then only I will be getting the citizenship after the 10 years. I hope things are making sense. Now, third is, after 24th of March 1971, all those who came after this date, they will be declared as illegal migrants. They will be declared as illegal migrants. And once declared as illegal migrants, in that case scenario, you will have to be deported. जब आपने illegally मान लिया, when you have accepted them as illegal, they have to be deported over there. So this was the case with respect to the 3 timelines in the clause 5 over. So can I say, if I make a conclusive remark and I say that this clause 5 of Assam Accord, clause 5 of Assam Accord was an effort to classify, please ध्यान से सुनिएगा इसको, please listen carefully. Assam Accord clause 5 was an effort to classify the migrants into three categories, namely citizens, foreign nationals, and illegals. Am I correct or wrong? Correct? Fine. Because it was an effort to classify the migrants. That means their legal or illegal status have to be decided. So clause 5 was an effort to classify the migrants into three categories, namely citizens, foreign nationals, as well as illegals. Now, what would be the mechanism? That means how they will be classified. That I have said. That it is a mechanism, sorry, it is a framework. This is something we have just signed on the piece of paper. Don't you think there should be a mechanism that should be working at the grassroots level to classify them? Tell me how they can be classified. How they would be classified? Yes, anyone from Assam? Yes, how they would be classified? Huh? Language. How means, let's say, there is a person. Okay. Okay. You are, how means what? Let's say there is a person. Fine. We have agreed in the Assam Accord that we are going to classify them. But don't you think there should be a mechanism at the grassroots level, implementation mechanism? What is that mechanism? Huh? NRC. Got it or not? Why, there would be a mechanism. That mechanism is what? NRC, National Register of Citizens for us. Please never ever get confused by the concept, by the name NRC, that it includes nation, so it would be for entire India. No. NRC is always state by state. NRC is always state by state. There are some stupid persons who are writing in the newspaper sometimes that NRC is at the entire India level. No, NRC is at the state by state level. But yes, if it will be compiled for entire India, that will be known as a national level NRC. There is a term that is used for it, and that is the national level NRC. I hope you know the difference between the two now. So what is the mechanism? The mechanism is NRC. Now tell me something. National Register of Citizen is the mechanism for Assam Accord Clause 5. If I make a statement and I say that NRC and Assam Accord, they go hand in hand, am I correct or wrong? Got it? That means Assam Accord and NRC, they go hand in hand. Say yes or no? God, क्यों भाई? क्योंकि Assam Accord will be implemented by NRC, so they go hand in hand or not? You know the meaning of the hand in hand, right? Now, हाँ एक साथ. Now, can I say NRC owes its existence to Assam Accord? Absolutely wrong. This is the difference that you have to clear. NRC does not owe its existence to Assam Accord. ठीक है? क्यों? Why? No, it does not owe its existence. Why? Because for the first time the NRC was discussed in the year 1951 for the state of Assam. The first NRC for Assam was compiled, though it was incomplete, was compiled in the year 1951 because of an act called Illegal Migrants Exclusion from Assam Act. Year was 1950. Illegal Migrants Exclusion from Assam Act. And this act for the first time talked about the concept of NRC. Now, in order to understand NRC in totality and this entire problem of illegal migration, you should be knowing about the history of this illegal migration. Let me take 2 minutes of yours to explain the history of this entire illegal migration. Then everything will be crystal clear. Now, how this issue of illegal migration starts over here? You might be knowing that when India and Pakistan were created, so as a part of the two nation theory, so Pakistan was not created as a single domain. Rather, it was created as West Pakistan, that is present day Pakistan, and East Pakistan, that is present day Bangladesh. Now, the two subdomains, namely the West Pakistan and East Pakistan, they had their ethnic differences. Why? Because West Pakistan is dominated by Punjabi speaking Muslims. As of now, also 75% of the people in Pakistan, they speak Punjabi language. Now, in that case scenario, East Pakistan was dominated by the Bengali speaking Muslims. So they had their ethnic differences, they had their cultural differences, and of course, West Pakistan being the dominant. So Pakistan, more specifically East Pakistan, so they were deprived. That was more or less a relatively deprived region, means no employment opportunity, no economic opportunity. So those people, they decided to migrate towards a more prosperous side, and the more prosperous side is India. And you see, India was also an infant nation in making, so borders were very porous. So the easy infiltration, or you can say easy illegal migration, was also a possibility. So the people started migrating in early 50s only. As a result, the government came up with an act called Illegal Migrant Exclusion from Assam Act in 1950, looking at the demographic pressure that has been created by these illegal migrants. So for the first time, they talked about NRC as a mechanism to identify the legals and illegals and then deport them back. But why the intensity of migration increased? The intensity of migration increased in 60 to 70. See the timeline in the Assam Accord. Why? Because there were certain set of atrocities which were inflicted on the people of East Pakistan by the dominant leaders of West Pakistan by the help of their army. Like there was an operation called Operation Searchlight, where they have massacred the East Bengalis, or you can say East Pakistan Bengali Muslims like anything. Over the night, those people were massacred. So they will move towards the more prosperous side. Which is the more prosperous side? India, of course. And of course, the government of India facilitating this. Why? Indira ji carried out one of her election rally near the East Pakistan border, whereby she said that India is going to act like a big brother to all the migrants who are coming from the East Pakistan. ठीक है, वो सारे के सारे छोटे भाई हमारे देश में आ गए फिर. Now, in that case scenario, this is how our government policies to a certain extent also facilitated the illegal migration from the Bangladesh. They came here, they settled, 71 Bangladesh was created, but they never went out of our country. वो सब कभी नहीं गए, वो तब के तब यहीं रहे. Mass level protest in Assam, why? Against this illegal migrants over there, which further resulted in another accord called Assam Accord. There also, what was the implementing mechanism? It was the NRC over there. So first NRC was discussed in 51. Then Honorable Supreme Court of India intervened in the year 2013 and said, now the new NRC will be prepared under our supervision. New NRC will be prepared under our supervision. Finally, the first data of NRC for Assam was released in 2019, more specifically July 2019. And this first data of NRC release, first official data for NRC released for the state of Assam in 2019, it had three major issues. आपने data तो release कर दिया. What were the major issues? Number one, 19 lakh names have been excluded. 19 lakhs names have been excluded, means they are illegals. That's why their name is not there in the NRC. Second, Bangladesh not ready to accept. Bangladesh not ready to accept. Why? Because we, at that time, the government facilitated, but the government didn't sign any repatriation treaty. So the Bangladesh at that time, the migration was facilitated by the government, but there was no such assurance on part of the Bangladesh that after Bangladesh will be formed, they will be called back to our country. So Bangladesh is not ready to accept them. We are saying they are not ours. Bangladesh is saying they are not ours. So what to do? But what to do with these people? They are illegal for sure because their name is not there in the NRC. Fine, accept it. Bangladesh is saying that we don't have any obligation to accept. We don't have a repatriation treaty. Bangladesh can deny that they are not ours. And that is equally justified. What to do with these people? Tell me. Throw them in Pacific Ocean? But what to do with these people? Concentration camp. But how long? Detention center. There is a provision of detention center. Now, they will be kept in the detention center till the status of their citizenship is not decided. Till the status of their citizenship is not decided, in the detention center, they will be extended all the basic human rights. All the basic human rights will be extended to them, but citizenry rights will not be extended to them. That means right to vote and all other constitutional rights will not be extended to them. They are formed on the different parts of the country also. Right? So there is the provision. This is the only status quo with respect to the NRC of Assam. There is not even a single development after this with respect to this NRC over there. Now comes the important part, that what is the conflict with respect to Assam Accord, with respect to NRC, with respect to Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019, and how NPR, National Population Register, is associated with it, and what is it has to take with clause 6 of Assam Accord. What it has to take with clause 6 of Assam Accord. That will continue in the next class. Okay, this is our first class. So let's not put you under much of the strain. We'll wind up the proceeding over there. In the next class, when we'll come, we'll continue from here itself. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'll provide you the handouts for this. The online students, offline students, I'll provide you the handouts for this part also. Okay, you'll have to wait for some time. After that, I'll provide you. Accept it? So that is all we have for the day. Thank you.